An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, such as it is, without the expression. It's just hairy.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with?
As you approach, the man turns and greets you with a polite wave. He appears completely at ease, like a common holidaymaker.
Ah, super. It's the officer. I was not expecting to run into you again, but things have a funny way of turning out, no? What brings you down to the scenic Martinez coast? My friend, if it's la responsabilité you're after, I have good news for you. There's no need to form such a committee, because it already exists.
God, of course it does. These moral intern types.
The Comité de Responsabilité de Revachol. It acts as a sort of clearinghouse for coalition activities. To put it simply, they are the ultimate arbiters of la responsabilité in this part of the world.
Yes, this is just the sort of reasonable authority you're looking for.
I would offer to connect you with the committee myself, but alas, I am not actually in Martinez.
What? Where is he then? He's speaking figuratively. He means he's not in Martinez in his official capacity.
Précisément. Officially, I am still in La Delta, preparing for an upcoming conference on fuel oil derivatives. That's why it would be extremely irregular, or potentially even inappropriate for me to intercede with the committee concerning a district I'm not officially in. Well, under ordinary circumstances, the committee contacts you.
In other words, the committee only knows what it wants to know.
But if you have information of a vital interest, they might be willing to entertain an exception. In which case, I would advise you to contact them via Coalition Warship Archer. You see, in addition to being an airborne artillery platform, Coalition Warship Archer is also the linchpin of the Coalition's surveillance and communications infrastructure in Revachol. And listening. It has the most objective vantage point in the entire city. Not to mention a vast array of radio, photographic, and meteorological monitoring instruments. I find it a great comfort to know there are benevolent powers watching over all, in strict accordance with the Wayfarer Act and the Bristol-Mune Convention.
The Bristol-Mune Conventions are a series of international agreements governing the treatment of military personnel and civilians in theaters of war, as well as occupied territories. In practice, they are more talked about than observed.
This is quite the problem. Very tricky. Of course, the Archer has orders to fire on any unidentified aerostatics that might approach it, so it might be safer to get in touch from the ground. But in that case, you would require a radio transmitter capable of broadcasting on Coalition frequencies. And that kind of technology naturally isn't typically available for non-Coalition use. Yes, it is a bit of a conundrum. I suppose there might be some way to circuit bend your way onto those frequencies, but you'd have to be one of those techno-tinkerers to do it. Unauthorized circuit bending is a very serious matter with grave security implications. But as of the moment, there is no specific law forbidding it. In Revachol, at least.
You will figure it out. Something tells you the person you're looking for is already on this coast.
Let me just say that I have complete confidence in the RCM. I'm sure you'll figure something out. Well, that's très simple. I was visiting the fishing village just north of here. They have applied for a series of microloans to revitalize the old market. And well, I wish to see the situation firsthand. And then, well, I had some extra time on my hands, so I decided to stroll down here. It's quite peaceful, isn't it? Yes. There's nothing like a stroll along the coast to lift one's spirits. Really? Here? How can you be sure? Ah? Is that what those pockmarks are? I might have guessed. Fascinating how much history is contained right here, if only one knows where to look for it.
Are you just going to let him get away with these generalities and euphemisms?
Well said. Let us just be grateful that we don't live in such fascinating times. Ah bon? I'm all ears, officer. Always my pleasure to be of assistance to the RCM. Godspeed, and if we don't meet again, bonne chance.
A metal and plastic contraption bobs up and down amidst the trembling reeds. At first, it just looks like trash, but if you look closer... This must be the boy Glasia mentioned. Ooh, hidden things, secrets, lies. Cold, air, tendons. Snapped the cords keeping the boy in place. A little longer and it would be floating somewhere out in the open sea. Moves across the water, leaving no traces. You're cold again, as always. Splendor. The boy is not tied to anything. The cords dangling from the bottom really have been torn or cut. You lift it out of the water easily, noticing how light it is. The number 11 has been written on the yellow plastic. It hasn't been in the water for very long, but it's already discolored and slimy with silt. A latch holds it close, but only just barely. The brittle metal of the latch has cracked. Primitive construction, but it does the job. There's something in there, splashing around. It smells like you would expect it to smell. A concentrated version of the coast. Salt, industrial slop and decay. The water this side of the peninsula is cleaner, actually. Smells a little salty. A shot glass's worth of seawater pours out. Some algae, and nothing else. The boy continues to be mostly empty. Coward. You should always try to guess. No answers appear to you in the dirty seawater at the bottom of the boy. Just the heavy smell of brine and silt and disappearance. You could ask the miss what she thinks, later if you have the time, though you doubt she'll tell you much at this point.
Hello again. Sure, what's on your mind? But of course, what else?
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away." There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle. The concrete structure looks military in origin, over half a century old at least, but sturdily built. Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood.
Hello again.
The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men, all in forward-looking apparel, reminiscent of the sticker on the padlock, are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out.
It's safe to assume this is their leader, or at least he thinks he is. A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Walshi tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile and says,
Hardcore! Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega! Internally coherent. All car! All right! Yeah!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
The question is, what is the question? But there was a question?
Could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think?
Go speak to Andre.
I'm just annoyed.
The young man with the tape recorder acknowledges your return. When he looks at you, he squints as though you were the setting sun.
This is hardcore. Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega! Internally coherent.
Encore! All right! Yeah!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah! Is it though? But is it? I mean, really? No, but seriously, I'm a bit worried it isn't.
The skin on your back is crawling. For a second, you can't even hear the music anymore. There is a hawthorn tree on Rue de Saint-Gilles Lane, right next to the canal. Don't be alarmed. Everything is okay. He isn't actually worried. Everything is still super hardcore. What he probably means is, it could be even more so.
Lungs are for love! Love! In a woman's lungs. Lonely as I am, I'm not afraid. This strange, damaged feeling grows on and on, 'cause I've never loved someone like you before.
A dopamine surge accompanies the words. It feels like electricity flowing down your scalp, dissipating into your neck. Feels good, like a spark of life in that moribund sponge you call your body.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm still in love with the hardcore. Sometimes I just feel like anodic music is in its infancy, you know? For example, take this Arno van Eyck jam I've been pumping for the last months, and will continue pumping for the rest of 51. Isn't something holding it back from being hyper? It's like it's only ultra.
I think it's super hardcore, but you're right. It's not hyper hardcore.
If anything, it sounds a bit proto, like it's not fully formed yet. You might be a moribund alcoholic and a failed cop, but you are pretty certain a thing cannot be both proto and hardcore.
Wow! Culture cop! I think you might be right, but how could it become hardcore then? I know it in my heart, but cannot think it in my head. If this is not hardcore, how could anything be? No! This is the answer! What? Guys, there's something happening in his head.
As your mind works, the beat recedes from your ears. You hear your own blood pulsing through your head, nourishing your thoughts with oxygen. The rhythm is familiar.
Oh yeah! He's doing it!
But you're not. This is almost certainly a matter that surpasses the limits of reason. The abstract shapes swelling in the foreground have done so in vain. This is a core matter. The answer in the double kick that moves the milliliters through your mind. The dark thud is the source of all rhythm, the inspiration behind mathematics. The hardcore.
I know! So does mine! Uh-huh.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
There is definitely something futuristic about his hair, aggressively so. You get the sense that this is what the future will look like. Imbecilic, yes, should the future ever come, it will look deeply imbecilic, like this guy. His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
And Egghead.
Egg!
Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers. We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That means they haven't set up a single one yet.
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues. Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
Finally, someone who understands the plight of narcomania. Play it cool. You might have an ally here.
I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads. Burnouts.
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Reversholt.
Strike that! The world!
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts hold up in there are the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
Yes. And the worst part is, they're also spooky. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse.
People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for. All right, man.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
Yes, I asked Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to contain the situation.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
Not long, like a week maybe? Thank you. We just thought it was the right thing to do. Of course. Noid, give the officer the key.
All right.
It's as if time has frozen somehow. You think you can sense the key moving in the air. Yeah, this is going to be way cool. Blam! Straight in the eye. Straight in the old eye orb. In the looking ball. A stabbing pain. Tears stream uncontrollably from your right eye.
Man, I'm super sorry. That was totally my bad. I got overexcited. Threw him too hard. I'm sorry.
He looks like he's genuinely sorry he didn't throw them better.
I really am sorry, man. Just take this, okay?
Wow, looks like there's quite a lot there.
I hope that settles it. Or wait. The key?
He is shifting in his spot, uncomfortably, still feeling sorry for the mishap.
We were talking about The padlock, I think. Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it. Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
If you don't know what the founding party is, there might be a way to mask it with minor demagoguery.
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know? I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organisation. And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericarnassian Church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, like, made the innocentic system, no? Totally.
The Pericarnassian Church is about love. And Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericarnassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance! Love is hardcore!
Unity. Unity.
Make some noise for my Insulindian posse!
You feel it, the anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters. Feels good.
Yeah! Yakokata! The place to be!
He seems ecstatic that you share his vision of Pericarnassianism.
Do it for the masses. Do it for the crew.
I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway, you got more questions?
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start moving. You feel like you could go for a little disco when, or if they get this club going. You've got it in you.
Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses. Yes, there's also the machinery. When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up. Suddenly, there are all these strange machines lying around in there.
One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water. Never seen anything like it.
Andre, tell him about the feeling.
Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark.
No, the other one.
Which other one? I'm not as in tune with my emotions as you are, Egg.
Felt like silence. Awful silence.
For this man, even regular silence is awful enough. But that was something greater.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church a couple of times. And we felt someone or something eyeing us inside. But that's kinda it. Like, you aren't alone, you know?
It wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
Not human, as in a ghost? Do you know what he means?
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like some kind of crab man. Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling, like a crab.
It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behaviour.
Odd. Crabs are usually marine creatures and not known for climbing walls.
Crab man!
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. Estelle was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there, there's a crab in there.
You should ask her about it, but be nice. Don't tell her you don't believe in the crab.
There probably is no crab man. Don't let them draw you in with this nonsense.
Well, honestly, I can't, but I am.
This is a below-feeble attempt at avoidance. Basically, he is attempting to weaponize idiocy.
I'm 70% sure they're substance users. Don't let the technology fool you. You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely. Sure. What? As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah!
The shaggy-haired girl kneels on the sea ice. She looks up as you approach.
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? With the church, I mean. Great. Let us know if there's any progress, will ya? We've been waiting for weeks here. Oh, that. You're not going to believe me. There's no point in me telling you.
She's less prone to blurting out "crab man" than the others.
Okay. I went in and I saw a woman next to one of those machines there. Noid calls it a mainframe. She was dressed like someone who's been raised by their grandmother, you know, strange old clothes. Had this absent expression, didn't say anything, just stood still. And then, you know, right behind her, a man crawled down the wall, upside down like a crab, down the church wall. I think the woman didn't even know he was there. He was completely silent. He stopped right before he got to the floor, then just hung there like that, looking at me, right at me. I fucking turned around and walked out. End of story. It was too dark. I couldn't tell exactly.
Come on, she obviously could. She already went into detail.
He looked like a banger, okay? He was all muscular and stuff. Had a mesh tank top, I know it sounds ridiculous, but that only made it scarier in a way. Yes, a banger, as in a mess gang member. I know what it sounds like, but that's what I saw. Why? Nothing. Anyway, what else?
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open. Feels like electricity and a very small piece of nothingness. A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum. In the heart of the city, in white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is Her Innocence Dolorous Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind outside. The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. Cold air seeps in through the crack in the glass, cooling the sweat on your forehead, makes you shudder. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You. No, she doesn't care about you. She only cares about her shiny sovereign's orb and her silk robes and getting to the aerodrome on time to leave. With that terrible word ringing through your mind, you rise into the apricot-colored light of the window. The woman keeps smiling her distant smile above you, sundered by the crack in the glass. Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence Dolorous Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world. Many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé, Also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene Le Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale, a costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history, the DeLorean era. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Riel Belt. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she's often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her terriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacific, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography. As did we all. The lands of the Mesk and the Occident, and even far away Supreme Windy, Altogether, 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time immediately accepted Innocentick rule, even before her crowning. In a city called Advesperaskit in Vesper Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already her Theriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Theriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen. One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later, a young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something else. Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves, the man was reported to have screamed at the Innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology. But she was not hell. She is the opposite of that, the wind of paradise, stripping away the covers from the hearts of men. There you stand, below her once more, with your hands on your side, momentarily at a loss as what to do with yourself. The mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex wax painting on a single pane of glass. A crack runs across the length of her body, her face oval and sad. A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a light motif below them both. Below both women, in luminous black letters, après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death. Unknown. A motor carriage, a gunshot, someone falling into it, or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, 30 years, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.